So how do you compensate somebody whose life will never be the same? And it's important to know this is not an award of damages. It's not a payday. It's money to design to compensate Niso for what was taken from him in the form of his health. He wasn't given a choice. It's how do we make him whole? You as a jury have to appraise human harm. You've heard the evidence, you've heard what he's lost, you've heard what he's gone through, you've heard from Valerie. You heard the disability he has now, you heard the struggles he has. You heard about how hard it is dealing with this amputation, with the loss of right arm function, the CRPS. You heard about the McGill Pain Index. This McGill Pain Index, Dr. Fish talked about, of how painful CRPS is to other painful conditions. And he said it's at the very top. He talked about it being known as a suicide disease because there's no cure and how extremely painful this is. And Mr. Marami suffers in this in his right arm and his right leg. He talked about path of travel. He talked about all the injuries the electrocution caused. We talked about CRPS, how it's that blaring alarm that's going off long after that fire is put out. There's no cure. So what does that come down to? Imagine if they wanted that for a science experiment. It reads like this. A 30-year-old man wanted suffer extreme injuries, and CRPS, loss of use of right arm, amputation of right leg, chronic, and constant pain. We need a volunteer for this medical experiment. But here's what you have to go through. In exchange, you get this amount of money, $28,235,349. Here is what the person had to go through. And Mr. Marami was asked, would you want to go through all of this pain, suffering, hardships? Mr. Marami, in exchange for that money, would turn it down in a second.